Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, the pinnacle of Magic is Commander, right? It is the cream of the crop, the #1 format in Commander, and the pinnacle of Commander decks is decks that just have 99 lands. Oh, okay, that might not be true. Everyone has their own opinions on what kind of decks they want to build, but it is kind of just a fun experiment to say, what commanders out there can actually function on 99 lands? And yes, there are going to be some, well, ones that work better than others, and some commanders can actually pull it off pretty well in some pretty disgusting ways. So in today's episode, let's talk about a commander that can pull 99 lands off and just absolutely still dominate the game without anything else. So with all that said, let's jump into the commander. And that commander is, well, disgusting for many reasons. Toxrill the Corrosive. First up, disgusting because of the price. $12.50. Not exactly a budget commander, but the entire budget of this deck is actually pretty budget friendly. At this point on Moxfield, the estimated cost is $27.77, but actually there is a cheaper version of Toxrill, a different kind of art on it that's around $10, so you can save $2 off that too, so around $25 in total. So incredibly budget friendly for a 99 lands strategy, even with a commander that basically takes up half the price of the deck. Also disgusting because, well, that art, slugs, gross. And also disgusting because what it does, a 7/7 slug that costs 7 mana in total. Beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. Whenever a creature you don't control, a slime counter on it dies, create a 1/1 black slug creature token. Pay blue, black, sacrifice a slug, draw a card. So, hey, when you have a commander that is going to be leading your, I was going to say the rest of your deck, but it's like leading your lands to victory without really any backup. I mean, yes, we'll talk about some lands. We have plenty of great utility lands that can help us out in many ways, but yeah, the focus of the deck is what the commander does, and this commander can do two things that can help us win. Number one, it can control the board. It can wipe out your opponent's creatures in absolutely no time because, again, keep in mind, at the beginning of each end step, not just your own, every single end step. That means with four opponents, four players in total, you have, with each trip around the table, 4 opportunities to get a slime counter your opponent's creatures, and for each of those slime counters, those creatures get -1/-1. So with just one trip around the table, you've probably wiped out many of the creatures out there and shrunk most of the larger creatures down to almost nothing. So basically, with 2 trips around the table, yeah, all your opponent's creatures should be basically gone, and you are building up a slug army to take out your opponents. So yes, you get all these slugs. You can also, if you need to, sacrifice them to draw some cards, to draw into more, well, lands. You know you're going to be drawing into lands, right? So you have that. But yes, you got a slug army to finish your opponents off. So you have, again, that engine to wipe out your opponent's board again and again and again, control the board, and also an engine to generate slugs, and also, well, a commander that does have 7 power, which means it is a 3-shot KO on any of your opponent's thanks to commander damage, so keep that in mind. So yeah, you can clear the board, clear out any blockers, make an army, and also take your opponents out with commander damage. This commander has it all for a 99 lands commander. Now with all that said, let's jump into those lands. First up, let's talk about ramp lands, because yeah, we can't utilize our typical ramp spells. I mean, obviously we can't utilize like the green ones, you know, because we're not in green when it comes to like land ramp, but we also can't utilize, well, any of the mana rocks either in these colors, and not Wayfarer's Bauble. I'm so sorry, Wayfarer's Bauble, you're not a land. You can't be in this 99 lands deck. Regardless, Dreadship Reef, a land that can help us out. Tap for a colors, or pay 1, tap, put a storage counter on it, pay 1, remove X storage counters from it, add X mana, any combination of blue and or black. So basically, you just add more and more storage counters to this, and utilize it as a giant burst of mana to get our commander out. Next up, Even Stronghold enters the battlefield, taps for a black. We can tap and sacrifice it for black. So again, a nice burst to be able to get our commander out into play. Next up, Majoring Network. Again, another land that get more storage counters on it. Tap and remove those storage counters from it to add a colorless. So again, our commander, yeah, only costs what, like 5 black, so we can utilize those colorless, you know, lands, essentially the colorless mana that we're getting from this for that generic cost. And again, if we have to recast our commander, yeah, we've got plenty of storage lands to help us out with that too. Next up, Mirror Landscape. This can actually up ramp us by paying 2 taps, sacrificing it, and go getting 2 basics of the exact same type right into play. There's Saprazan Scary. There we go, that's hard to say. Enters battlefield, tap 2 deflation counters on it, tap move a deflation counter from it, 2 blue mana to your mana pool. So yeah, eventually this is going to go away, but hey, Bursts of mana can be great with this kind of a deck. Next up, Spawning Bed. Pay 6, tap, sacrifice this land. You get 3 Eldrazi spawn, which essentially you can utilize for mana and also utilize, well, if you want to take your opponents out with some tiny little creatures too. Then there's Subterranean Hanger. Tap for a storage counter on it. Tap, remove any number of storage counter from it for a black mana for each storage counter move this way, so keep that in mind. The Temple is going to help us out. Enter battlefield, tap, taps for a blue. Tap, sacrifice that 2 blue, just like Even Stronghold essentially, but in blue. Temple of False God. This one's a very good card in this deck because, well, this card really isn't all that good in my opinion for most decks out there, but with this deck where you can guarantee that you are going to play 5 lands, tap, add colorless colors, activate when you control 5 more lands. Yeah, again, you are only drawing into lands. You have 99 lands in your deck. You are guaranteed that, hey, you play this on turn 5. Congratulations, you have your 5th land. Then there's Urza's Mine. And then we've got Urza's Power Plant. Then we've got Urza's Tower. Essentially, all of them just tap for 1, but when they are all together in play, in total, they're going to tap for 7, which is a massive boost of mana. Next up, let's go on to attack number 2, Creature Feature, because, well, we also have on top of our slugs that we're going to be making other creatures that can help us out and finish out the game. Clearly Accursed, pay 3, tap, sacrifice, make a 2/2 zombie. Crawling Barrens, pay 4, get 2 counters on this. Then you may have become a 0/0 elemental to have turn silly land. So this can actually become a really heavy hitter for you throughout the game. Creeping Tar Pit, can tap for either of our colors, enters battlefield, tap, pay 1 blue, black, becomes a 3/2 unblockable land that can go hit players. Land creature, I should say. Dread Sanctuary can become a 4/2 by paying 4. Gargoyle cast, pay 5, tap, sacrifice, make a 3/4 flying gargoyle to get through on your opponents. Mistress Factory, very simply, pay 1 mana, make it into a 2/2 assembly worker to hit your opponents as well. Mobilize District, pay 4, but it's actually going to cost 3 most likely because you got your commander in play to make it into a 3/3 citizen with Vigilance. Then there's Spawning Pool. You can actually make it into a 1/1 that can regenerate for a single black mana, so if you need a blocker, that can be a good one to have there. Urza's Factory, pay 7, tap, make a 2/2 assembly worker creature token. Zoetic Cavern, this one actually can be a morph creature, so actually get it down, face down as a 2/2. And yeah, if you just need it as a land, you can use it as a land instead. Now, as good as all these cards are, there is one in my opinion that stands above the rest, and that is the Golden Pig of this deck, which is the number 1 card of our 99, and that is Contested Warzone. A land that can be pretty risky, but in this deck, not nearly as risky. When a creature deals combat damage to you, that creature's controller gains control of Contested Warzone. Taps for colors, pay 1, tap, attacking creature, get +1/0 until end of turn. Basically, this is a fantastic way to say, oh yeah, okay, I cleared up the board. I made a bunch of slugs. Let's speed things up. Let's pump our creatures with this simple land. And again, your opponents, who don't have any creatures left, can't get through on you to actually steal this. So yeah, and if they try to play creatures, you take those out as well. So this can be an amazing card that can really speed things up. It can pump your entire team. That is what makes it the Golden Pig. But now, so on to attack number 4, stick around. Another land that kind of competed with that Golden Pig spot, in my opinion, is Tyrite Sanctum. Tap for colors, pay 2, tap, and target legendary creature becomes a god. It gets a counter on it. Pay 4, tap, target god, gets an indestructible counter on it when we sacrifice this land. Yeah, a great way to essentially protect our commander and say, hey, God Slug, you now have an indestructible counter. Stick around for a bit, take out opponent's creatures, decimate them. Next up, let's go on to attack number 5. Here comes the boom, because on top of our opponents, getting messed with our slug commander that can just slime counter all their creatures down to oblivion, we also have some lands that can take things to oblivion too. Blast Zone, enters battlefield, charge counter on it, tap for a colorless, pay XX, tap, get X charge counters on it, pay 3, tap, sacrifice, destroy each non-land permanent mana value equal to number of charge counters on it, so this can wipe out a lot of things. Next up, Blighted Fen, pay 4 and a black, tap, sacrifice it, target opponent sacrifice a creature. So basically a way to say, oh, you got that really big creature in play that's been surviving all these slime counters? Let's just deal with it now. Then there's Grasping Dunes. Can be really funny when you use this one. Pay 1, tap, sacrifice, get a -1 counter target creature, activate time to cast sorcery. So essentially a way to say, let's just push that creature over the edge, okay? It's almost gone. Let's just finish the job right here and now. If your deadlands can do that as well, pay 2, black, tap, sacrifice, 2 -1 counters that creature and opponent controls, activate on sorcery speed. Again, another great way to take down a creature. Ominous Cemetery, pay 5, tap, exile, target creature's owner shuffles into your library. Basically way to say, hey, that's just basically gone forever. Yeah, these utility lands can be absolutely incredible for you. Then there's Quicksand. Tap, sacrifice, target tag creature without flying gets -1, -2 until end turn. So another way to potentially take something out that might be swinging potentially at you because you've kind of drawn the ire of the table. Underdark Rift, pay 5, tap, exile it, roll a d10, put target artifact creature, planeswalker into its library, just between the top X cards of that library, X the result, active on the sorcery. So basically, we're going to get rid of that temporarily, and even maybe when you get it back, it's probably going to be too late for you to really do anything with that one. So sorry about that. Next up, how about tactic number 6, Utility Belt? And first up, we've got Blink Moth Well. Tap for colors, pay 2, tap target non-creature artifact. So a way to tap things down and say, hey, sorry about that, you can't utilize that either. Opal Palace, pay 1 tap, add 1 mana of any color, your commander's color identity. Spend mana to cast your commander, enters with a number of additional counters on it. Equal number of times cast with the command zone this game. So actually, this is one of the ways that we can turn our commander into even a 2-shot KO over time if we have to cast it enough times. Then there's Radiant Fountain, very simply ETB. Gain 2 life, lovely, pad your life total. On the opposite end, Wrath's Edge, pay 4 tap, sacrifice a land, 1 damage to our creature or player. So either finish off a creature or finish off a player potentially with sacrificing lands. Rogue's Passage can be a great way to get your commander through in case your opponent somehow has blockers. Pay 4 tap, target creature can be blocked this turn. Sunscorched Desert, a very free, very awesome way to just say, oh, you're at 1? You thought you survived? Sorry about that. ETB, 1 damage target player. Could also separate colorless. Next up, tactic number 7. Okay, technically, all right, there are some 99 lands purists out there that say technically MDFCs don't count. So if you are one of those, feel free to remove these, replace them with other lands, maybe some utility lands or just basics. That being said, I'm keeping them in this list because, yeah, on the backside, they are technically lands as well. Ban Veil, instant for 1 and a blue. Creature probably control at -2, -0 until end turn. Or, of course, on the backside, it'll show us on the first one. It is a land. Enters battlefield tapped, tap for a blue. So again, technically, you're never going to miss a land drop because, yeah, even these spells are actually lands as well. Draw Disruption, counter target spell once they pay 1. That can be very unexpected again when opponent's like, okay, they only have lands. All right, I'll cast a spell. And you're like, nope, counter it. Oh, you tapped out. Sorry about that. Black Bloom Rogue, a creature, 2/3 with menace, very simply. +3/+0 as long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, so this can actually hit for a decent amount. Palaka Predation, target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a card with converted mana cost 3 or greater. They discard that card, so you can get rid of something quite spicy. And also, hey, Zoff Consumption. Each opponent loses 4 life, you gain 4 life, so a nice way to finish players off and to pad your life total too. Next up, though, let's go on to tactic number 8, Dig Down, because, yeah, there might be some other lands that we want to get to, some special lands that we need. So how about Arch of Vraska Ascend? So if you got the City's Blessing, once you get 10, tap for a colorless, pay 5, tap, draw a card, only if you got that City's Blessing. Crystal Grotto, this one, ETB, Scry 1, lovely. Then we've got Gallifrey Council Chamber, ETB, Surveil 1, again, lovely. Dig down through your deck and get what you need. Heaven Gold Laboratory, we can pay 4 tap to investigate to make some clues. You can also transform, you don't really need to do that, though. The Grey Havens, ETBs, Scry 1, you can also separate colorless. Throne of the High City, this one is hilarious with this deck. Pay 4 tap, sacrifice, you become the Monarch. Again, with a creature, with a commander like this one, again, you can control the board and say, yeah, all your creatures are gone. Good luck playing creatures, because if you do, they're going to be gone as well. So I'm going to become the Monarch and get a lot of card advantage out of just staying the Monarch. Moving on to Cassia's Dig Site. Pay 3, tap, Surveil 1, so repeatable card selection. There's a Fear and Void, ETB, Scry 1 as well. So another great way to essentially say, hey, you know what? Let's just make sure some bad cards get off the top and we can get to some better cards. Moving on, speaking of getting to some better cards, we can also thin our deck out a little bit with some cards like Ash Barrens, base land cycling for 1, so get rid of this, and then also get rid of a basic from your deck too, into your hand. Then there's Esper Panorama, pay 1 tap, sacrifice, go get either your basics into play. Tap, Falling Wilds, tap, sacrifice, do the exact same thing. Grixis Panorama, pay 1 tap, do the exact same thing. Maestro's Theater enters the battlefield, sacrifice, go get one of your basics into play, tap, and gain 1 life as well. Promising Vein, pay 1 tap, sacrifice, go get that basic land into play, tapped as well. Shire Terrace does the exact same thing. Quite a bit of these cards coming out lately. Terminal Moraine, pay 2 tap, sacrifice, go get that basic into play, tapped. We've got Warp Landscape, which does the exact same thing, and Terramorphic Expanse, which is basically just another Evolving Wild. So yeah, you've got plenty of ways to thin your deck to get those basics either into play or in your hand and out of the deck so you can draw into some more interesting lands. Finally, though, in tag number 10, let's talk about some colorful additions, some cards that can actually help us, well, with either of our colors. Command Tower, of course, can tap for either of our colors. Darkwater Catacombs can tap for both of our colors. Then there's the Mirror Aqueduct, which can tap for blue and black as well. ETBs and battlefield tapped. Also bounce land back to our hand, so that can be nice as well, especially for lands that may have an ETB. Exotic Orchard can usually tap for both of our colors, depending on what our opponents have. Great Hall of Citadel, we can pay 1 and tap it, add 2 mana of any combination of colors, only to cast legendary spells. We got River of Tears, which can tap for a blue, or if we play a land this turn, which again, we are guaranteed to be able to do, it can tap for a black instead. Unclaimed Territory, enters battle, which is a creature type, Slug, and that can tap for either of our colors, and yeah, there you go. And then we round the rest of the deck out with basic lands. But yeah, keep in mind, you can make your 99 lands deck in any way that you want. Utilize different utility lands, ones you might already have just around. Maybe you want to just take those MDFCs out. Maybe you want to add more MDFCs that might be not as budget friendly. So yeah, make sure you're keeping all that in mind. Again, it's pretty interesting when you can see a commander that has the potential to be built in a way that many commanders cannot be built. Again, most commanders cannot handle 99 lands. This commander is definitely one that can, so it definitely might surprise opponents out there. If you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.